Hey everybody, Shaman Shane here. Welcome to My Shaman Says, the podcast. I've got a wonderful guest in studio. I've never met her, but she's got an incredible vibe, and I can't wait to get into this. I think you guys are going to be thrilled to find out all about her, just like I am. Welcome to the podcast, Eden Holt.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. I'm really excited and looking forward to this.
I think this is incredible. Let's just jump right in. Tell us a little bit about yourself. Who are you?
Well, I am Eden Holt. I am a certified life coach, and I own and founded The Connection Effect here locally. We are a thriving, growing practice. So we just completed our sixth coach training
Oh, fantastic.
for a new life coach.
So you're training facilitators.
Yes.
That's big stuff. I love that. I have a shaman training course that I do to help people that want to get on their spiritual path a little bit more.
Okay.
And if you're that kind of person, you'll understand what I mean by if you're a teacher, you got to teach.
Yes, yes. I found that early on that I was just talking about my journey of becoming a coach and applying some of the principles to my own life. And it was naturally attracting others that were interested in becoming a coach. And it started with one person, and then a second, and then a third, and then now we're at six.
And the snowball effect has begun.
Yes.
So you mentioned your path and your journey in this. Tell me a little bit about what led you to being a life coach. When I did my yoga teacher training years ago, I did it just for me. Like to fix me because I was kind of messed up at the time. And then I was like, I can't keep this to myself. It worked for me. I'm sure it will work for others. So tell me a little bit about your version of that journey.
Yeah, so let's take you back a long time ago. When I first endeavored to navigate the world through fresh young adult eyes, I wanted to become a psychologist. I was I was aging out of the foster care system, and at the time, I thought that my passion, my pursuit, would be to be able to help the kids experiencing things very similar to what I had endured, and the adversities and challenges of foster care through psychology. Counseling, supporting them with tools and resources to really work through some of those struggles. And on that path, I found myself really conflicted with some of the ideology behind psychology. I am 100% supportive of counselors. Please do not take that any other way.
No, I think you and I probably have a very similar thing there.
Yes.
I am a big proponent and big advocate of good counselors.
Yes, absolutely. So what I found was that there were barriers, there were limitations to really being able to support the kids that I would be faced with on a regular basis as a counselor. And that journey led me to exploring what else was out there that would still fulfill my dream of helping others and giving them a voice in their life and in their experiences. And so, ironically, I switched my program, my degree, from psychology to communications.
Okay.
And so that's where it really opened me up to recognizing that, I already had the foundational principles of psychology and how to use those tools. Communication allowed me to apply it.
Right, yeah.
And so
absolutely.
I also found my own voice in that program, allowing me to open up even more, seeing myself for who I really am, but also recognizing how all of the things that I experienced in my lifetime were actually leading me to helping others to find their voice and use it and to give them a platform.
There's a great national level yoga teacher that I quote all the time, Sean Korn. I don't know if you're familiar with her. She says that if you want to know what your dharma is, if you want to know what your true purpose is, it's to help people who suffered in the way you once did.
Yeah.
And that sounds like so much what your deal is.
Yeah, yeah. So in that process of completing my program, I met many individuals and instructors that were advocating for me to take it a step further, look a little bit deeper, and see how to combine the psychology education, the formal training, and the communication, and not limit myself to one title or one role, which at the time it looked like maybe a director of communications for a nonprofit,
Sure.
supporting kids or charity work that would really help give them a voice. And it kept coming back to me that I really needed to help individuals.
Right.
And so I did complete my degree program. I set out, I endeavored in the world to find my place. And at the time, I was a full-time employee at a small business here locally in Springfield, and I was an office manager, and it just so happened that the world shut down for a little bit. I think
Yeah, I remember that. I think we all remember that.
Yep. There was a moment where I was sitting in the office really late at night. Everyone else had gone home. I was working in a very small office, and I was the office manager. So I had to do all of the billing and all of the human resources side of it. But I also had kids at home and a husband who was, set aside from work because of his industry. And so I just remember thinking to myself in the moment, it was around 10 o'clock at night, and I said, this is not the life that I want for myself, to be in the office working while my kids are at home and my husband is home with them. Everyone else is gone from the office. And this is not my purpose.
Right.
There's nothing against office managers.
Oh, not at all.
They are key and they are crucial for the survival of a business. But in that moment, that was not my passion.
I believe in celebrating all career paths so long as it's the right one for you.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you touched on something that I wanted to jump in on, because I think that so many people are starting to awaken to this, and it's the reason that I put this podcast together, actually, back when the world shut down. Mm-hmm. And a lot of politics and things these days are about division and about separating us.
Yeah.
And society is very big on, you go in this group and you go in that group, and everything is separated,
Yep.
and then, 6 feet apart, and this is closed, and all this sort of stuff. And even though we're several years past that, I think people are just now really opening up to, I want connection, I want interaction, I want to feel like I'm a part of something.
Yes.
And that's what led to this podcast, is we're forming a connection now. We don't know each other at all, and we're forming a connection. And I want to show people that you can do that. You don't have to automatically know that you match somebody. You don't have to have a matching T-shirt. You don't have to necessarily go to the same church. You don't have to whatever. There are amazing connection points that are available at many different degrees, many different levels, all of that sort of thing.
Yeah.
The other thing I want to touch on, I would love your feedback on this, because it's a personal concept that I have. I think that true counselors, even though I'm a shaman, I'm not allowed to use that word technically, but people who do therapies, counseling, coaching, this sort of thing, don't you think the good ones just naturally understand how people think and operate? It's like when you watch people, you're seeing something different than what everybody else is.
Yes. Yeah, I think there's a level of intuition
For sure.
that sometimes, and I think we all have it. We all start our lives with intuition, and we learn to suppress it. And so allowing ourselves to open up to what that intuition is, and how we can use that for the better of the world.
When you said what that intuition is, one of the things that I work with my clients on a lot, because a lot of people come to me wanting to develop that sort of thing or whatever, and they think that's developing their spirituality, and we have a big talk about, no, that's you developing a skill set.
Yes.
Those are two different things.
Yes.
And guess what? Coming to see a shaman doesn't make you more spiritual. It
Sure.
means you had an experience with somebody. But one of the things I love to get across to them, and I have a little exercise I do with people, is getting them to realize which of the senses they are dominant in their everyday life.
Yes.
And realizing that there isn't a sixth sense.
Right.
It's the five senses elevated to a non-physical quality.
Yeah.
And so somebody who really gets into music or spoken word, okay, you're going to be clairaudient. You're going to receive your intuition through an auditory means.
Yes.
If you're somebody who paints and is visual and all of this, and the test I do with people is describe to me where you live. Now describe what you've experienced in this office. And if they start in with, my home feels peaceful, oh, okay, you're an empath. Or if they talk about, wow, your voice is like a buzzsaw, okay, you're auditory. And it really helps people to understand that they're not lacking in intuition, but so many times they're trying to use a different form than what is their dominant trait.
Yes, yes. I think there is a piece, yes, and recognizing that when we allow ourselves to be open to expressing intuition rather than reserving it, and it's basically invalidating our own experience,
Right.
and wanting to mimic and or alike ourselves to someone else in their experiences, it doesn't further our cause, for seeking the ability to be intuitive, to express intuition, and really to just the connection piece of it. If we just sit still and listen first and receive what we are experiencing and processing it, and then what I call digest,
Yes.
allow it through us, and that piece of it, because our body is a working processing machine.
Yes.
But if we allow ourselves to sit with it and not be uncomfortable with blockages or unknowns, have a curiosity, and just be open and free with
And
that.
I love what you were saying on the other end of that as well, because there's so many people that have an innate knowing or an innate understanding of themselves, called it an intuitive process or whatever. They got it. They got
Yeah.
the message. But then being able to express it out into the world unapologetically.
Yes.
I'm not saying forcefully when I say that, but unapologetically, and not needing to match the way other people are communicating. But
Yeah.
finding the people that speak your language, or at least are open to it, are welcoming. I had a lovely guest on yesterday, and we got into a conversation about my tattoos and my nails and this sort of stuff. And she got it immediately, because she beat me to my own punchline.
Yeah.
And she was like, you make it comfortable for people to be just who they are because
Yes.
you don't edit yourself.
Yeah.
Exactly. All day long.
Absolutely. Yes. That is the piece that our culture in general struggles with. We want to be seen. We want to be able to express who we are, but we're also afraid of it.
I think a lot of people suffer from this.
Yes. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, I want you to see me, but why are you looking at me?
Right. Yes, absolutely.
I want to be heard, but I don't want to speak.
Yep. Yeah.
So tell me a little bit. What I'm hearing, and please correct me. It sounds like you're really big on teaching people to be their style of coach. Is how that feels. What is the basis of the program?
So to kind of take a step back in the conversation a second, when I was working late at night, realizing that I didn't want to be an office manager forever, I wanted to finally use my degree, but to actually make an impact in the world. That's what I've always endeavored to do. And I started researching, how do I use what I already know about myself and what I'm willing to grow into and to do to make that impact, to have that impact. And it all led me to coaching, life coaching, executive coaching, leadership coaching, those kinds of things. And so I went through the certification process first and started applying those principles to myself immediately. You know, basics, time management, leadership. It's not just make your bed every morning, drink
Right.
your 8 ounces of water, and then you're fixed.
Although those are good
They're
things.
important. Habits are important.
But they're not
Yes.
fixing things.
They're not going to instantly fix your life.
Right.
And so the piece that really solidified for me that I wanted to go further, I continued getting certifications that were applicable. So mindfulness, and a little bit more life coaching skills, but also shadow work. And so,
Huge.
yes, when we recognize that our shadow self is not something to be ashamed of, it is something that is always a part of us that we don't like to talk about, maybe. But I explain it kind of like, you know, we've got the sunshine on our face and then we've got the moon on our back. And so we've got bright light and then we've got the shadow of it.
Right.
And so it is who we are. We may not talk about it often. We may not look at it regularly, consistently, but learning to incorporate that into our daily practice.
I have a bit of a spin-off that I do with clients that I think you might find interesting.
Sure.
I tend to be rather confrontational
Yeah.
in the way that I approach things. It's just my personality. That is part of my shadow self.
Yeah.
And I've learned to use it as a superpower instead of having shame with it.
Sure.
And one of the things I love to hit people with when they say, you know, oh God, I don't want to turn into my mother, or I don't want to be my parents. I'm like, oh, too bad. You were born from them. You were brought up in that. Or if I heard you right, in foster, you have a lot of different versions of that.
Absolutely.
And I'll say to them, you know, that's already in there. The real idea is to figure out how to use those qualities in the better way.
Yes.
My father, as an example, we are not on speaking terms at this point. He is extremely opinionated. He is very outspoken. He is very regimented in what he believes in his approach to life. And the difference is I let people book a session before I hit them with all of that. Yeah, I have that in me. I have that. Did you know that you're like this? I have that in me. And so I've taken that part that a lot of people see as a shadow quality, and I've sort of morphed it into a healthier way of expressing it. And I think that if people can understand shadow work in that kind of application, then it's not the boogeyman of our own self that we're running from.
Right. Yeah. Yes, to take that a step further, I firmly believe that when we recognize who we are in the reflection in the mirror, we see all qualities and all characteristics that make us who we are. And so we may have some parts and pieces that we are ashamed of or that we are embarrassed by because of our past experiences. It does not make us any better or any worse. It is just part of us. And so there are also the great qualities, the great characteristics that we like for everyone to see and acknowledge. And so we also use affirmations in our program. We talk about going back to the basics. We start, we start with a certain age range, and then we work our way backwards to find those parts that we said, this was a story or this was a situation that I created a narrative out of, and that became the sticking point. That became the thing that I used to build habits and beliefs about myself that then either created the image that I share to the world or that I hide from the world. And so when we come back to affirmations, the basics of I am loved. Yes, you are loved every day in every way, good, bad, and indifferent. You are who you are. I am powerful. Yes, you are. In every way, in every day, in everything that you are. And that has no negative or positive spin on it. It is an example of who you are.
Right.
And so those affirmations do not have to be fluffy. They don't have to be anything exciting to the rest of the world, because they are not affirming the rest of the world. They're
Right.
affirming
Absolutely.
you. And so yes, they may look positive in that I am loved. Yes, love is fun and great and feel good, but love in and of itself recognizes that we can be who we are no matter what. And so
I think love is acceptance.
oh, yes, absolutely. I am accepted.
Yeah.
I am accepted for everything that I am every day in every way. And that teaches our body to believe, again, from the very beginning, that we can show up in our best selves always. We can also show up on our worst day and still be accepted and still be loved, still be powerful, still be energetic. It just looks different.
So much of what you're saying right now was embodied in my yoga class last night. I teach 6 classes a week here, and we've got other teachers and stuff. But I start every class with a spiritual lesson. And the one that I presented last night was, what if you decided that you were already enough?
Yeah.
What would happen if you decided you were already enough?
Yeah.
And my answer was everything.
Yeah.
Everything
yeah.
will happen.
Yeah. Oh, I just got emotional. So I don't know that you know this, and I'm just going to say it. Today is my birthday.
Oh.
And this morning, as I was getting ready to come here for the episode, I pulled out my little tiara that I have sitting in my bathroom, and I put it on, and I was like, no, that's like, no. I
wish you would have worn it in.
Oh my gosh. But I occasionally will just put it on. And that piece of it actually goes back to when I was a little girl, wanting to feel like a princess. And birthdays are so important. Gosh, look at me. Birthdays are so important.
You're being real.
I celebrate birthdays huge for everyone. I just love celebrating humans. And birthdays are a way to say thank you for being here. Thank you for showing up. And today I get to say thank you to the world for allowing me to be here. I am enough. I literally said those words this morning in the mirror.
You are enough, and I celebrate right along with you. As though you're not having a moment enough, let me put you on the spot for a second here. And you do not have to answer this question because it's the question that nobody's ever supposed to ask. How old are you today?
41.
41.
Yeah.
And so in my version of numerology, anytime somebody says it's their birthday, I'm like, I got to know so I can do my thing.
Yeah.
And so 41 is a 5. And the 5 in the system that I use actually is the number of the shaman, of the healer, of the person who helps with transformation and growth and establishment. Yeah. And so coming out of that 4-0 year, the 4 is foundational. You got all the pieces in place. I'm sure last year was you getting a lot of checks and little check marks in the boxes, and this worked out, and you got the 4 table legs. Now I can build whatever I want to on it. And this is the year of really stepping into even greater ownership.
Yes.
Of that identity. And I think that the concept of starting out with I am enough and everything can now happen along with that energetics, love it.
Yeah. Yes to that. I took a very intentional break between Christmas and New Year's to really lay the foundation for what this year would look like in calendar year. However, spring is my awakening time, and I knew that. I really struggle with the winter time.
I do too.
I love to be outside. I love to be in nature, but the earth is my grounding, literally and metaphorically. I need to be in it. I want to play in it. I want to experience it in every way possible. And so my word I do words of intention rather than goals or New Year's resolutions. And so my word for 26 is rooted. And so I wanted to embody that by being prepared for everything that comes my way, which means that I also had to get very organized to make sure that if things happen or
I'm feeling a little attacked right now.
if things happen or if great great things happen. I like I said, I don't put positive or negative on anything. Things happen the way that they're supposed to, whether we like it or not. And we have to learn to adapt. And I am a firm believer that the universe gives you what you ask for. When you manifest something, that is exciting and worthwhile, there's also something that you've manifested that you probably didn't enjoy, but you had the energy that pulled it to you. So it's kind of a magnet. And so I put out into the world that this was really going to be the year of transformation for me. And so that meant that I was putting myself in more places and more spaces where I might be a little uncomfortable or I might not yet be ready for. But again, I believe in being curious, being open-minded, and allowing ourselves to be seen through expression.
I love helping people to understand that imposter syndrome is one of the most amazing things you can ever experience. If you never experience imposter syndrome, you're playing it safe. You're staying in the familiar. You're staying in the comfort zone.
Yeah.
And if you allow yourself to go out into it and you're like, oh, I'm uncomfortable. Okay, cool. That means I'm doing something.
Yeah.
And I think that's an amazing reframing of a word that normally has a very bad connotation.
Yeah. So you're going to laugh. You mentioned that you're confrontational. Imposter syndrome is one of those things that I will confront head on. I don't believe in it.
Oh, beautiful.
And here's why. So I truly believe that whenever we are showing up as ourselves, in our best selves, of course, doing the thing that we are trying to do, whatever it is, whether you step into a room or you're walking outside your front door, as long as you're not literally trying to be someone else, you are being yourself and you're doing what you're supposed to be doing.
So I want to mirror back because I think we're actually saying the same thing in a way.
Yeah.
I like to tell people that the phrase fake it till you make it
Yeah.
annoys the shit out of me.
Yep.
Because the only people who ever say that are people who are actually doing the thing.
Yes.
Well, if you're actually doing it, how fake is it?
Yeah.
And that's why I say, we can mince around about the phrase imposter syndrome or not, but the idea is be uncomfortable, challenge yourself, push to something, let yourself, don't make your entire life based on easy and comfort.
Yeah. You will never get anywhere if it's just easy and just comfortable.
Right.
You will find yourself becoming complacent. You won't push yourself. You won't allow yourself to really thrive. You will learn to survive in that comfort. And if we don't allow ourselves to step outside of our comfort zone, the box, the zone, whatever that looks like, we are not actually growing. We are holding ourselves back, and we really limit ourselves to all of the potentials
and
for everything.
Staying in simple existence is actually just a very slow death.
Yeah, it is. It's miserable.
It is.
Yes. And that is part of why becoming a coach allowed me to see that I was stuck in my complacency. I was sitting there in a space where I felt really confident. I knew what I was doing. I knew how to do it in my sleep. I had to do it no matter what to keep someone else's business running.
Right.
And so I got really good at that. And I got really good at saying, I'm really good at this. And when I decided, when that shift came and it was just, I couldn't do anything else. I was recognizing there were so many things in the world saying, okay, Eden, it's time to put this down, walk away from it, pursue this thing that you have put on the back burner. My entire being changed. I went a full 180. I was a whole new human. And to that degree, I also said, if I can do this, the person that has been holding myself back for all of these limitations, all these excuses, all these reasons, so can you.
Right.
And I know that it's possible. And not only is it possible, I have to do it. I have to be able to help and support and facilitate others in their growth and in their journey to really reconnecting to themselves and finding that piece of their voice, their experience that tells the world how incredible they are.
The moment that somebody realizes that there's so much more to them than they've ever been led to believe or allowed themselves to believe, things begin to transform.
Yeah.
Before you got in here, one of my regular, we have stroke recovery chair yoga on Thursday mornings. And as the group was going out, there's a lady that comes to the regular class, so she comes here for her husband. And she was like, "Oh, I didn't expect to see you here this morning." I said, "Well, I'm doing a podcast." And she said, "What's the format of the podcast?" And I said, "People are interesting. And I want to know what's interesting about people. And I want to share what's interesting about people. And I have long held this true, heartfelt belief that there is something, not just something, but many things that are amazing about everyone."
Yeah.
And it's that comparison thing that you were talking about earlier that stops everybody from being it.
Yeah.
You know, I am a unique individual, but if there's anything anybody could ever learn from the life of Shane, I'm an openly gay shaman yoga teacher in Springfield, Missouri, and I am unapologetic and happy and successful and thriving. And if that doesn't give people the idea that whatever your version is, if you think it's weird, lean into it.
Yeah.
If it challenges you, lean into it.
Embrace it.
Yes, absolutely.
Yes.
You know, let the thing that's in there. And what you were saying is so powerful. People ask me, because I do readings. I don't like that language, but people say, "Do you get readings or do you go and have people check out what's going on with you?" I'm like, it's everywhere. Why would I need to seek it out? Every song on the radio is telling me what to do. Every billboard I pass by is telling me what to do. Every random conversation I have is going, "Hey, you know, in case you didn't hear it the 75 other ways we presented it today, here's Spirit going, hey, do the thing."
Yes. Yes. Those affirmations, the confirmations showing up in the little things
And the
and little ways.
synchronicities.
Yes. And, you know, the other day I had another reminder. There was something, someone said, look for the glimmers. And I think there was a moment a few years ago after I had started coaching and started building my practice where I was sitting in my car, and my rearview mirror, I have a couple of things hanging from it. Don't let the authorities know. Sometimes those are intentional for people to get a little spark in their life, but there's one little charm hanging from my rearview mirror that reflects light, and I won't go into where I got it, but it's intentional for showing me different versions of light.
Yes.
And there was a moment while I was sitting in traffic at a stoplight, and the sun was hitting that charm just right on, and that light was hitting me in the eye, and so I moved my head just a little, but when I did, it hit my my seatbelt and then the side of my door, and it was a rainbow. And in that moment, it was just like, it hit me. Like, it was annoying to me in the moment that the light was hitting my eye, so I moved a little, my perspective changed. I was fascinated by that rainbow, by that difference in light.
The thing that was previously uncomfortable became the thing of beauty in your world.
And then I recognized that I'm constantly putting shiny, shimmery, glimmery things in my world, my watch band, my license plate. Sometimes it's an accessory. Sometimes I just put it around me. Sometimes it's on my notebook or on my purse. I'm constantly looking for various styles or perspectives of light, how it shines and how it shimmers. And those little glimmers, the things that show up unexpectedly to light up our life and light up our day. I seek those out, but I'm putting them in my world intentionally.
I love that because it becomes the non-language affirmation. It's the little reminder. It's the thing that's like, pay attention.
Yes.
I hope you're getting what you put out there.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
So let's say that I decided that we'll get to the training in a second, but let's say that I wanted to come to you as a life coach. And I find your information. I'm like, Eden, my name's Shane. I think that I need a life coach. Where do we start? How does that process begin?
So usually what started as working with clients, I would say a call or a setting where we go through what it looks like in your life to be you at your fullest and your best and your highest self. That's very fluffy. But really, like, what is it that you want to achieve in your life?
Hopefully they're not coming to you to find out how to be the darkest, grungiest version of themselves.
True.
Fair enough. Fair play.
I have actually had a client that wanted to be more powerful, that took a couple of probing questions. But I think that there was, the recognition that in our discovery, our questioning of what is it that you want to accomplish, we find things that are already in your life that are working for you. And then we find the things that are working against you. Sometimes it's yourself, right? And so we start there. We start with where you are, figuring out what it is that you want to accomplish, what tools you need to do that, to accomplish that, and then also using a framework that's very intentional in diving in for those narratives and those stories and those experiences that then created the habits to lead you to where you are today. And then we set the goals, and then we set the accountability structure.
I have a personal transformation package that I do with people, and it starts out with an entire worksheet of what are your goals, which I think is the lesser question.
Yeah.
I think the real question is why?
Oh, yes. Yeah, we get into that.
Why is that your goal?
Yes.
What do you mean by that? What would it look like if it worked?
Yeah. An example that I use regularly is if you just tell me that you want to lose weight, I want to know why you want to lose weight, not how much and not by when. Yes, that's part of the goal setting strategy. However, let's come back to what is it that you actually want to accomplish?
What's the motivation?
Is it you want to feel better? Is it that you want to look better and feel better? Is it that there's something underlying that's going on that we need to address? Because having just such a vague, generic goal of losing weight, well, gosh, I mean, I could lose half the things that are in my house and I'm losing weight, literally.
Right.
And I'm saying this because like the weight of all the things could actually be weighing on me.
Well, and to expand on that whole concept, the idea if somebody comes to me and says, I want to lose weight, because I've worked with a lot of people on that topic, and I'll say why. And for example, somebody might say, well, because I've carried the shame my whole life. Okay, why have you carried that shame? Well, because my mother used to really, actually make fun of me or put me down or tell me that I couldn't wear this kind of clothes or I couldn't hang out with those kind of people because of this. And so I don't hear that person saying they want to lose weight.
Yeah.
I hear them saying they want to heal their childhood relationship with their mother.
And that's exactly what it is. It always comes back to what happened in your childhood that led you to believe that you need to be this way.
What circumstance did you allow to become your identity?
Yep. The narratives, the stories, the experiences. And we use that regularly, not just regularly, in every conversation. We are not drudging up the past. We are not hung up on the past.
No.
We have to dig in first to figure out what caused the imprint, because it does imprint in your system, starting before you're even born.
What is the root of the weed that is choking out your garden?
Exactly. And then what did you do to affirm that belief? And then what happened that affirmed that belief? And then what did you do to consistently reaffirm that. And in that moment, when someone says, I want to lose weight, maybe it is that they really do need to work on healthier goals,
Sure.
healthier eating habits, healthier movement, those kinds of things. That's true. But how did you get here? And so what led you down this path? And what do we need to first analyze, maybe, and rebuild the foundation, so that after our time together has completed and you're ready to navigate the world on your own, you're set up for success. And that you're not working backwards, because we can do short-term goal. My short-term goal is literally to get myself dressed in the morning and walk out the door.
Thank you.
Like, that is my goal. If I make it to my car, I've got both shoes, correct shoes.
Right, yeah, matching.
Yes. And I feel and look good, and I make it to my car, goal accomplished. And it doesn't have to be, it doesn't have to be big and extraordinary, but that was a short-term goal.
Sure.
Now, if I am just setting my clients up for good eating habits, that could be a short-term goal, but that will lead to long-term impact, right? And if we are working on health and wellness, is it the whole person that we're working on in just losing weight? Yes, every time. Every single time. And short-term goals are literally stop eating French fries.
Right.
Maybe. Yes, probably. But the long term is setting them up for success forever.
See, one of the things I'm so big on, I had this conversation with a very good friend of mine, very successful, high-profile attorney here in town. And we could not possibly be more different, and she's my best friend, and we just really vibe, and it's a cool thing. And we were talking about, I said, what is it that you get out of what I do? Because I love hearing totally different perspectives.
Of course.
Because it helps me to define mine or refine mine. Mm-hmm. And she said, oh, that's easy. You give action points. You believe in forming a plan.
Yes.
You believe in doing something. Mm-hmm. And again, not to put down counseling because I think it has a great value.
Of course.
But there are so many counselors that get stuck in the loop of, let's keep talking about it. Let's talk about when you were 6 again. Let's talk about
Yes.
this. Let's redefine it. Let's
Yes.
get together and say the same thing we said last time. Mm-hmm. And I find that what clients are really looking for, people who genuinely want change,
Yeah.
because they're different.
Mm-hmm.
If you genuinely want change, that means doing something. Yes, you have to have the concepts. Yes, you have to have the understanding.
Yeah.
Yes, you have to have the foundational infrastructure for it to have a place to land. But if you're not actually doing something,
Mm-hmm.
then nothing's going to really change.
Right. Yeah. And yes, 100% agree with that. So with our clients, we only allow them 3, 6, or 9 months. They choose. And of course, if they start with the 3, they can move to 6. And if they start with 3 or 6, they can move to 9. But after 9 months of work together, we say, okay, look, you have the tools, you have the resources, and if you don't, we've done check-ins along the way to make sure that you do. But if you don't, why not? Mm-hmm. And what are we doing wrong?
Not that you need it from me, but you have so much respect for me on what you just said there. My absolute favorite moment is when a client says, I don't need you anymore.
Yes, I want to work myself out of a job.
Yes, every time.
Every single time. Because that means that human, that person, that client can now navigate the world more prepared, more connected, more confidently with those tools. I am not limiting them. I am not holding them back. I am simply saying, you have what you need. I trust that you are going to go do your best.
I referenced this just yesterday on the pod, but I have to repeat it because it's one of my favorite things I've heard in a long time. Do you know who Sadhguru is?
Yes.
I love Sadhguru. Sadhguru and I have a similar way of attacking things. Uh-huh. And he was asked in an interview, what is the thing that you hope people remember most about you? And he said, I hope I get them to focus on themselves so much that they don't even remember I existed.
Yes. Yes.
All day long.
Yes. And to be able to let them see themselves, again, coming back to that reflection in the mirror, for everything that they are, everything that they will ever be, is within themselves. And I'm just a facilitator. There will be hundreds, if not thousands, of people that they will interact with that will be able to then support them and reflect that same thing repeatedly.
Absolutely. So tell me about the coaching training program. How long of a thing is that? Are there different levels?
Yeah.
Tell me about the training coaches.
So I'm very new to the training side of coaching world industry, so to speak. So my philosophy is I'm going to give you the training through going through the process, the coaching program that clients would go through. So we start with 12 weeks of coaching for the coach. And then we also do ethics and code of ethics and standards of practice and so on and so forth. That is an 8-module process. It is very intensive. We're, very intentional about the language that we use and the process and the practices that we incorporate. And then once all of the book work is finished, then you have a practicum. You have to practice with 8 clients with a 12-week program.
Nice.
So that is 96 weeks, but 96 sessions.
That's a legit program.
Yeah. Oh, it is very rigorous.
That's a legit program.
It's very, again, I keep saying intentional, but it's focused on making sure that you get the practice that you need and the feedback, but also getting used to recognizing things on your own. I'm there to support and watch and mentor and guide, but really a coach that is then going to take this program out into the world needs to be able to be fully autonomous and using those tools that they have been given with confidence, and to know that they have a system that is tried and true. Right. But then also those clients that they have worked with, even, practice clients.
They have the experiential aspect.
They have that piece of it to say, oh, yeah, this is a thing. And it's a free 12-week program for a client, but that coach, it's invaluable.
Oh, that's where the actual application comes in.
And to take that even a step further, to recognize, a coach will go through that coaching program themselves, right? They have to see what the client is going through, and they're picking up, oh my gosh, this actually works. Oh my gosh, this makes sense.
Right.
Oh yeah, the client is going to go through this, and now I understand what they're experiencing.
The dots begin to connect.
Yes, and that, even when you were talking about, wanting to listen to and accept ideas of other people, other ideologies, other frameworks, recognizing that you and I can have 2 different views on the same subject and see it from different experience or different lenses, but it's because of our experiences.
Right.
And yet we can still have good, productive conversation and transformation through that. And, we don't have to agree on everything, but I always say when you start with being human first, because we are human. That is literally our first foundational piece of it.
Right. Yes.
We are human first, and then we start working our way out to our differences. And sometimes recognizing those differences, the conflicts in our own beliefs and our own stories, help us shape and solidify what we think and what we believe. And that's good. That's all good. And we don't have to look at what divides us first to then unite us.
I came up in a place called Hilltop, learned a lot of what I do at a place called Hilltop. It was Betty's house. I always love telling the details. I first met her when I was 12, but our birthday was in the same week. And when I was 23, she was 69. She was my best friend.
Oh.
And she opened up her house for probably close to 50 years teaching metaphysics to people. And so it became this collection of very interesting
I bet.
characters
Yeah.
that at the time were astrologers or psychics or whatever. And this is long enough ago that chiropractors, because they were on the fringe back then and all of that. Betty never set rules. She never really, I never saw her correct anybody the entire time I knew the lady, decades of knowing her. But she had this amazing ability that everybody there focused on our sames. And we never messed with our differences.
Yeah.
And we just sought the similarities, even if it was, well, now that's not how I do it, but I see where what I do and what you do are the same.
Yes.
And she was brilliant at pulling that out of people and getting us all to realize that we're not as different as we think we are, and we're not as different as sometimes we need to be because of an insecurity or whatever is bubbling inside of us.
Yeah.
And that what you said, and I'm going to jump back to something you said at the very beginning of you love to be outside in nature. Pro tip, we're part of nature.
Yeah.
The reason it feels so damn good is because you're a part of it. You're connecting with your base level point of origin.
Yeah.
And of course, shamanic perspective, if you tie into that you're also a soul having a human experience, it gets really good.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. There are so many studies, of course, scientific studies, but literal experiences where people found themselves in nature, the healing that comes from just being there. And I'll take it back a little bit. After I had my son, he's almost 10 now, but after I had him, I went through a very dark period. I was struggling mentally and physically and emotionally, life-altering experience for sure. But I found that plants first were my medicine of just playing with them and learning about them. I've always been a plant person. I've always wanted to grow things and play in the dirt. But it gave me something to focus on. And the seeing it growing and cultivating the soil and all of that, it was healing in
Teaching
itself.
yourself nurturing and care.
Yep. And then I slowly started getting back out into nature and hiking and just being in the water and playing in the dirt and realizing that that's what I was missing. Because as a new mother, even though he was my third and my last, I was very secluded during that time. And so the nature and the environment that I was putting myself in intentionally, I felt like I belonged there. And that's what we're all looking for. We're all looking for a place of belonging.
Absolutely.
And when we realize that we can belong within ourselves and, we can better connect to ourselves, we can then better connect with the world.
I tell my yoga students all the time that if you ever find yourself where you're going to be alone, if your first thought isn't, oh, how cool, I get to spend time with my favorite person, you're doing it wrong.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I want to shift gears because we're about to run out of time,
Yeah.
and this is just my weirdness coming through in all of this. Tell me something silly about you. You're so well spoken, and you clearly know your stuff. You do. I love when I talk to somebody that has a quietly stated authority, and you can tell they absolutely know their shit. I love that. But I think we all have the other side of ourselves as well, and I think we need to give space for that. I have a lot of silly. I have a lot of irreverent. I have a lot of weird, and I celebrate all of that. Well, what's a little glimpse into that side of you?
I love laughter. It is, even now, I get a little choked up. My son's laughter is very infectious because it's pure. It is so beautiful. But listening to people laugh, and even if I mean, I tend to be a little funny sometimes, at least I think I am, but I will be around people that make me laugh or that love to laugh, and that it actually is like refueling me, re-energizing me, so that I can even make it through the days when I'm not doing well, struggling mentally, or the world is heavy right now, always. But laughter. So I will listen to little comedy clips, or
Yes.
things that just, or just kids laughing, or people laughing at things. That's what I do. It really does help me.
Clients a lot of times will be in the middle of some big, heavy topic, and I'll just rip out some ridiculous joke about the situation, and they'll catch themselves laughing about it. Or I'll have somebody coming in talking about grief, a loved one they've lost, and I'll say something that absolutely nobody else would say in that moment.
Yeah.
And they catch themselves laughing and remember they can again.
Yeah. Yeah. They say laughter is the best medicine. I think it stops short of the best medicine for even the hardest days. It's not just physical experience. It's literally an entire person experience. And it fills all of the senses in that moment of pure joy. And so when I talk to anyone, my tagline for the Connection Effect is helping you live a more joyfully connected life.
Yes.
And that joy piece of it, we can struggle all day long with what's right or wrong, or should or shouldn't happen, or what we could or couldn't do. But when we look at and experience joy, we are embodying the essence of being a soul.
I have a very deep held philosophy that anything you do to one part of yourself, you do to every part of yourself.
Yeah.
And so if I'm stuck mentally, and I can get myself emotionally to laugh, my mental state's going to elevate.
Oh, absolutely.
If I'm feeling down in my body, sluggish and gunky, and haven't eaten what I should or whatever, and all of that, if I can mentally shift myself, then my body's going to follow suit.
Yeah.
And we begin to see ourselves as an integrated whole being.
Yeah.
And realize that in everything you do, you're either doing something to yourself or for yourself.
Yep.
If you do something to yourself, you're going to have to undo it. If you do something for yourself, you've already won.
Yep. Yeah. And, what you just said just like went through me. What I thrive in is recognizing that we may have this one physical human experience. There may be lots of other opportunities for our soul to travel.
Sure.
The experiences, but in this moment, in my best self, in my best experience, if I am allowing me to shine through, I think that is going to be universally good.
Yeah.
Because I truly believe that we are all connected. And if we can spread that good, that joy, that happiness with others, that it's the ripple effect.
Love and accept yourself so much that you're so full of it that it begins to spill out over you and begins to touch everybody else, and that's how we change the world.
Yes.
That's how we transform everything.
Yes.
So, hit everybody with the important information. There's surely a website, social media, all of that sort of stuff. Shameless self-promotion. Go.
So we are all over the place. We have a website, www.connectioneffect.com. All of the socials, Connection Effect. And I love to tell people to email me. I want that interaction, that true connection. And that's connectioneffect@gmail.com. And really, I also have a podcast that I talk to people, Coffee and Conversation.
Fantastic.
And I say to people, I want to see you so I can show the world who you are. And that's what I mean. I mean that, and I preach it, and I teach it, and I live that.
And so again, we both have our own version of it, and
Yeah.
you just described the whole reason that I do this. You have been a delight. You are absolutely amazing. You are absolutely enough. Don't you ever forget that. That is incredible.
Thank
You are a breath of fresh air and a light, and I believe that people could really benefit from the program. Everything you've said is absolutely amazing. I can't thank you enough for being here. I hope you'll be here again at some point in the future.
Thank
This is
you.
absolutely wonderful. I want to remind everybody that everything we talked about today applies to you as well. There's something amazing inside of you. You need to allow yourself to experience what that is. Allow other people to experience it, because that's going to change the world. You might be the one that gives somebody else permission to look at themselves and go, oh, that thing that I always thought was wrong with me is now my superpower, and look how cool I just got. And I think that it all begins with connection, and that's why I love the entire vibe of what Eden has brought through here today. If you would like to be a guest on this podcast, get hold of me, ShaneKnox.com. You can find me on all the socials, all of that sort of stuff. Do me the favor, like, share, blah, blah, blah. If you haven't heard it by now, I'm sure you know exactly what you're supposed to do, but it makes a big difference. And realize that you make a big difference. And like I always say, I believe in you, but that doesn't matter until you believe in you. That's when everything begins to change for you and everybody around you and this entire world. And remember, be kind to yourself and everyone else.